Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about UBC engineering and my 6 biggest pieces of advice for incoming students. My first piece of advice is probably the biggest, and it is that you do not need to take the full 37 credit course load. So personally, when I started, I found the 6 and 7 courses each term was way too much for me, and I started my first term with 5 courses. So the 5 courses was enough for me, and I realized that second term I was not going to be able to do 7. So in total, you only have to do 31 credits to move on to second year and to choose your specialty program. So that means that you have the opportunity to drop 2 courses, so 6 credits in total, during the year, and you can still totally move forward and just make up those classes later. And stay till the end because I will tell you guys what courses you should take in the summer and which ones you should take in the winter term so that you can get the best grades possible. So my tip number 2 is for a specific class, which is Physics 159, which is a 1 credit course. So for this class, the key to success is study the rubric. You can apply this piece of advice to many courses, but specifically in this course, a lot of students and a lot of my friends got very frustrated and had a really hard time with the course. A lot of the time you don't really know what you're doing, don't know how to use the machines, and you end up having to do like 2 hours worth of the lab in the last 30 minutes. So my lab partner and I got 99% in this course, and this is how you guys can get that grade as well. So what you have to do is just stay relaxed. When people get really worked up and start arguing with the TAs, the whole thing goes downhill for them. So you just need to stay relaxed and just know that you will get done what you need to get done. And as I said, really pay attention to the rubric. So for example, if it asks for drawings in your procedure, put as many drawings as you possibly can and make them as detailed as possible. Or if it asks you to put your error calculations in a certain place in your lab book, put it in that certain place. The only point I got off in the whole course was because I put an equation for my error in the wrong section of the lab book. So it's really just paying attention to what the rubric is asking for and just doing exactly that. They are not looking for the correct answers whatsoever, so it doesn't matter if you got 10 and it's supposed to be 100. Literally does not matter. They just want to make sure that you know how to use the scientific method. So it's all about explaining what you did, explain what you did wrong, and explain how you would do it differently. I found some of my best friends in first year and they're all in engineering. And it's really amazing because I literally would not have passed my courses without their support. One thing that's great about being in a program like engineering or nursing or something like that in your undergrad is that you have standard timetables, so you're going to be taking the exact same timetable as probably about 30 to 40 other students. So it's kind of like high school in that way where you go class to class with a cohort of familiar faces, which is really, really nice because everywhere you go, you have someone that you know that you can talk to, or you can talk about the class you just had and how hard it was and if they've done the homework, and this just makes it really easy for you to make friends and spend time with people. Then there's the topic of homework. So your homework is going to be insanely hard to the point where you almost can't do it unless you do it with other people. So that kind of forces you to hang out with people outside of class. So the best way I can describe being in the program and having the standard timetable is kind of like everyone's in on the same inside joke. And it's just really fun because you can joke about classes or professors and everyone kind of gets it. My next piece of advice is to go to office hours and get close to your TAs. If you can't keep up with your office hours for every class, I suggest to just pick your favorite class or your favorite professor and try to go to their office hours every week. I did this with my physics professor in first term, Mark Ramstonk. He's the best professor ever. Basically, it lets you get really close to the professor and that way they can help you a lot better. And worst comes to worst, it's possible, not guaranteed, that they can boost your grade a little bit if they understand that you've been consistently trying the whole term. And it's the same thing with TAs. TAs mark every single thing you do. They mark your homework, your final exams, your midterms, everything. So if you get close with the TA, it's possible, for example, for an assignment or, a lab, if they understand and they see you trying really hard, it's possible that they could be a little bit more lenient when they're marking because they know that you're a really good student and you're trying really hard. My next piece of advice is for APSC 100 and 101, which is 2 courses that you're going to take that kind of go for the whole year. So they're 2 separate courses, but the second term is just a continuation of the first. So these 2 courses are very, very time intensive and very group intensive. So you're going to be working with the group for basically everything you do in the course for the entire duration of the course, which is challenging, but as I said before, it's really nice because you can meet people and spend time with people maybe outside of your normal circle. So you'll have 3 projects in total each term, and these projects are pretty iconic among the engineers. So there's the autonomous clock project, cardboard chair project, just all of these really fun projects that you'll get to do with your friends. So for these projects, you have to spend more time on posters and less time on the product itself. For example, for the cardboard chair project, the actual chair is worth typically 4% and the project is typically worth 6% of your grade. And what happens is a lot of groups will spend hours and hours and hours on the chair itself and forget about the poster and end up getting a crappy grade. In my situation, our chair did not really work out as planned because someone sat on it and broke it. But basically, I made sure that we focused really hard on the poster and we ended up acing that. So that's my biggest tip, is to just stay on top of how much things are worth. So my last piece of advice is to print out the ESS study guides and go to the study sessions if you have time. So the Engineering Student Services, they kind of give out study guides for most of the common first year engineering courses, and then they do hold study sessions right before the midterms with volunteers from upper years, and they kind of help you go through the problems in the study guide. I really liked printing out the study guide at home and kind of doing it on my own time, just because I was a commuter, so sometimes it didn't really make sense for me to commute just to go to an hour-and-a-half study session. So the study guides are basically just a whole PDF packet of a bunch of practice problems, and they also organize it in terms of difficulty. So at the beginning there's easier problems, and then at the end there's some really challenging problems, and it really helped me prepare for my exams.
Math 101.
Math 101. Fucking hard.
Very difficult.
And I got 50% in that class. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, I'm just going to quickly tell you guys what classes you should take in the summer term of your first year. So I personally did not take Math 152 and Physics 158. Those are both courses that happen second term, and I took the science equivalents in the summer. So I took Math 221 and Physics 118. So the maths, based on what my friends said and what I experienced, I think the maths are very, very similar difficulty. Just because it's a second year course does not mean it's harder. I think it was very similar, but is a lot more theoretical, which was really hard for me because obviously I like to apply the knowledge more, so it was hard because you had to memorize a lot of information. Then for physics, please take Physics 118. If you're able to take a summer course, you need to take this course. Phys 158 is one of the hardest first year engineering courses. Most people fail it and they scale it like 15 to 20%. And I struggled a lot with physics first year, so it really helped for me to be able to take it in the summer and just focus on that alone, and I think I'm going to end up getting a pretty good grade. I actually took my final for it today! But please don't go off of what I'm saying in this video, and please meet with an ESS advisor and they can kind of tell you based on what credits you have from high school and all that kind of stuff which courses you should take and which courses you can push back. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and I know you guys are all going to ace your first year at UBC Engineering. Please hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.